Karl Nelson with Intern Media coming to you live from Manhattan. I have a very special guest with me today, Chalvar Monteiro, a professional dancer with Alvin Ailey. Chalvar is a friend, all-around good person, and he's one heck of a talent in the dance world, and that's what we're here to talk about today. So, Chalvar, man, how you feeling?
I feel great. Thank you for having me.
No problem. I appreciate you coming, man. First and foremost, you have a tour coming up in a few days, September 4th, right, is when you guys leave. So tell me about, are you excited, one, and two, what's the preparation process been like for that?
Ooh, all right. Well, yes, I'm very excited to go to London for the first time. It's a UK tour, so we start in London and make our way through Scotland and Wales, Switzerland, and then we end the tour in Denmark. And so right now we're just touching on all the repertory that we'll be performing on this tour, but also the repertory that we're going to be performing at City Center, all world premieres, company premieres. We're working with people like Kyle Abraham, Johan Inger, so it's like a whirlwind of information, but it's great. It's great.
So we were just talking off the set. You guys have about 32 people on your squad, 16 guys, 16 females, but you're one of the youngest, not the youngest guy, but one of the youngest guys. Let's talk about the journey, because obviously for you to be here now it's amazing, surreal, but it wasn't easy. The process to get there wasn't easy. So let's talk about the journey. What were some of the highlights of your journey to get to where you are today?
Okay. Well, I started training in New Jersey. I was about 12, going into my freshman year of high school, and I saw Ailey for the first time when I was 12, Mother's Day weekend at NJPAC. And then from there I started training seriously, and a big highlight for me was going to SUNY Purchase and getting my degree in dance and learning so many different types of dance and meeting all different types of people, and then freelancing like crazy, and then finally getting a call from Troy Powell to join Ailey 2. I did a year there and then got promoted into the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, and I'm just now starting my second season. And I feel like I haven't had a chance to catch up to all the things that we've done, but it's been so great. And especially working with Kyle Abraham before I joined the Ailey organization was super instrumental. I learned so much about myself. I was there for 4 years, and even outside of the choreographic element, it's like I learned so much, and having a close-knit family type of environment was super, super nice before coming to Ailey, where, you know, you're a little fish in a big pond. You have to learn so fast, and you can get lost in the madness. So I'm grateful for my time with Kyle, but I'm super grateful to be in the Ailey company now.
Now I know that dancing with Alvin Ailey, and just in the past, a lot of the companies you've been with, or you mentioned SUNY Purchase, you're used to having to dance on point. You're used to having to dance on step and just choreography based. But I think I can speak for a lot of your supporters, speak for a lot of your peers when I say keep posting those videos of you doing freestyle dancing. Very entertaining, always a good time, man. Checking you out on social media. So when you get a chance to break away from choreography and actually just kind of, whether you're in the dance studio, whether you're walking through, I saw a video you walking through Times Square and just started, breaking into a different dance routine. What's that like for you, being able to express yourself through the art of dance like that?
Well, there's nothing like being able to physicalize what you're feeling. Usually when I do an improv video, it's to kind of break the stream of consciousness that I just had in rehearsal and not be in such a codified state of mind, and not worry about being in unison, not worrying about the person next to me or in front of me, and being able to just do what comes naturally and not have to think. And working with Kyle, actually, I became comfortable with improv, because improv can be scary for a lot of us dancers, and being insecure and being okay to put our vulnerable moments out there for people to see and judge and criticize and do whatever they want with it. So whenever I post something, it's usually a very vulnerable or a private moment that I feel comfortable sharing with everybody else.
Now, Chalvar, what's been one of the more challenging things for you since you've been either with Alvin Ailey or just dancing at such a high level? What's been challenging for you, and how have you been able to kind of overcome that?
Good one. Yeah, that's a good one. I would say the hardest part of this job that I have now is the tour schedule. We tour something like 9 months out of the year, and we work, I think, something like 46 out of 52 weeks out of the year. So we have very little downtime, a lot of time away from your friends and family, and the older I get, the more attached to my family I become. So So that's the most difficult part, the traveling and being away from your support system. But through that, I've learned so much more about myself that makes me secure with being away for longer periods of time. I've never been away from home for 3 months straight before. So it's been a different hat that I've had to put on and, be strong and not cry all the time. But it's been great. It's been hard.
Well, as a digital journalist, I have a lot of other journalists that, I look up to, that I gain inspiration from. So I'm sure as a dance professional, you have the same. You have people that you look up to, people that inspire you. So speaking of that, I want to touch on Misty Copeland for a second. Now, I'm no professional dancer. I'm not very knowledgeable in that industry. But if you say Misty Copeland to me, I know exactly who you're talking about. So can you just touch on her success, your thoughts on her success thus far, and how she inspires you as a dancer?
Absolutely. Well, because I started late, I had a very limited exposure to the things that I got to see in dance. And so growing up, there was a Discount Dance Supply magazine that came out, I think, once every season of the year. And I remember seeing Misty Copeland for the first time in high school, and she was like the only black girl in this publication. And so when I saw her, I was like blown away. I was super, super happy and thrilled, but I didn't know what that was at the time because I was in a black school. And so now that she is who she is and she's branded herself to be who she is, I think, one, it's amazing that she's making classical ballet and the issue of race a household topic and something that we need to be more comfortable with, especially even in modern dance. There aren't many black representatives. So I think it's very important that she has started the conversation for us, especially in classical ballet where, one, the level of excellence is higher. Racial tension and all of that history is so much more prominent. And so I think she's the right person to start that conversation. I think she's, and I think the way that she did it was commendable. She was in your face, unapologetic about it. She was a champion for black women in ballet, and I think that there needs to be even more conversations about race in general. But I'm happy that it started in dance, which is my second home.
So what has been like the most memorable or one of the most memorable experiences for you dancing internationally?
Okay.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So last year, my first tour with Ailey was to South Africa. And I also got to celebrate my birthday there, which was amazing. But being able to go to the schools, and we did a lot of outreach and lecture demonstrations and master classes, and it was really nice to meet the kids of South Africa and people who have way less but have so much more of a bigger heart. They're so much more generous with their happiness and their love. And to know that, and also to be thinking about how apartheid was still a thing. And I was like maybe 6, 7, or 8 years old, and apartheid was still existing and in effect in South Africa, and to meet the people that not only were born after, but people who lived through it. People that lived through it were the people helping us backstage in the wardrobe room, helping physical therapy people out. And so it was the most memorable because it was the first time I understood what I did was so important. And sharing this black experience with non-American black people. And to be thinking about that distance that's been created by us, by them, by the social constructs that exist. So it was super powerful to like break as many walls down as I could, not only for myself, but for the audiences that we got to reach out to.
In Chalvar, how has that changed your perspective coming back home, coming back to New York? How has your perception on those things or those issues, or your perspective on life has changed since that experience?
Yeah. Since coming back, I feel like my spiritual walk with God has gotten so much stronger. I find myself sometimes, we all get wrapped up in our own routine, and so it's easy to complain about this not working out or the train's not working or whatever else, but then I have to think the trains work. I have the luxury of a train. I have the luxury of buying myself a meal. I have the luxury of getting to where I need to go to without thinking twice. And so it is not to say that they have it that bad in South Africa, but just to see that I have ease here in New York. I have ease with my family dynamic and my workplace. So it's just time to give thanks all the time, or as much as I can.
Exactly. Now look, let's talk about we're about to make a little shift. We're gonna talk about fashion. Something that I feel like you're very you fashionable guy, man, and very very familiar with that side of things. So here at Intern Media, we love fashion. We love having some some glitz and some glamour and some flair, adding that flair to social media, to our writing, to being in front of the camera, whatever the case may be. And I always encourage those I'm interviewing to do the same. Come as you are. Whether that's in your dance gear, looking fly in your dance gear, I'm rocking, a suit, something formal, just being edgy. Let's talk about where you get your fashion inspiration from and your fashion sense from.
Okay. So, that's so interesting. I've never thought about it before, but if I had to, I guess, use references as to where I get inspiration from, I love plain, solid things. I was super crazy about patterns and colors before, but now I'm really into just basic white, black, navy blue. I'm also really into, thank you Kanye West, distressed clothing. I love things with holes. I love neutral colors. Pretty much clean with like a touch of edginess. That's pretty much me. I'm very Blaine Jane. And you always can find me in black, most likely. Especially because we do lots of receptions on tour. And so black is always a go-to for me because you can't go wrong with it. But I've also found a lot of value in navy blue. I think it's so sexy. Yeah.
All right, Chalvar, man, final question for you, and I'm going to let you go, man. Obviously, you're in your 20s right now. You have many more years of dance left. Very young in the company. You said this is your second season with Alvin Ailey. But when you think about, I don't know if you put thought to this yet, many years down the line, when you look back on your career for many years down the line, what would you like to be able to say about your career?
Ooh.
I'm hitting you with some good ones.
Yeah, so good. Well, the first thing I would want, if people were to think about my dancing, and if I was thinking about my dancing, I would want to, one, say that I left it all on the floor. I always was my most authentic self every time I got a chance to dance. Never holding back, never living in regret, always being able to say, I did what I could to the best of my ability for that day. I just want to be able to inspire, influence. That's what I always say, that I aspire to inspire and to influence other people, to start conversations with whatever work we're doing. There are lots of works right now that touch on social injustice. There's a work we're doing by Kyle Abraham that talks a lot about the incarceration rate of black men and how that takes a toll on black families. And so, with this hard-hitting work, I want to be able to always go into it head first, not be scared and tiptoe into it, but to really put my entire being into it and hopefully touch someone, influence someone, start a conversation with people that might not have met before, spoken before, but because of what we as a collective did on the stage, we have bridged the gap between whomever is in the audience. That's my goal, to always touch other people, even the people that I'm on stage with. Just by doing our job, sometimes I leave the studio so inspired because you did your job so well, and I want to do it even better. So I think it's just always an experience, even for us. Even if the audience wasn't there, doing our job well affects us as well. It's healing. It's really great. Dance is great.
It's therapeutic, man. It's therapeutic. Well, Chalvar, I'm going to let you go, man. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you sharing your story with the Intern Media family. I wish you many more years of success in your life in general and obviously in dance. And do your thing, man, over there, domestic tour. You guys are just going to be in London, or?
No, we're going to 2 weeks in London, then we go to Wales, Scotland, Switzerland, Denmark, and I feel like I left something out, but there's maybe another country, city in there.
Okay, man, well, good luck to you. Listen, like I always tell you guys back at home, when you hear Chalvar's story, choose to be inspired. Karl Nelson with Intern Media. Until next time, I'm out.
Hi, this is Chalvar Monteiro, dancer with Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater. Thanks to Karl Nelson and Intern Media for bringing me out here for a great interview. And like the man always says, choose to be inspired.